Okay.
Hi,
We're live.
everyone. Welcome to another episode of Bridging Black Blood with Dr. Jacqueline.
And Misha. And today we have a special guest, Freeman. We will be talking about dating, asking him a few questions. Freeman, do you mind giving us a brief introduction of yourself?
Um, Freeman Walker Jr. I live in Mississippi. Um, I work in corporate America. Um, uh, I love life. I love love. I love people. I love intellectual conversations and just the heart, mind, and soul of different people. So that's just pretty much me overall. So that's me. So yeah.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for
Awesome.
being
So we're
here.
just going to get right into
You're
our.
welcome.
Yeah, thank you. We're just going to hop right into our questions. So the
Okay.
first question is, what is your definition of dating with intention?
My definition of dating with intention. Um, it's one of those things where you actually have to know pretty much pinpoint where you are, what you want, the focus point, whether it be man or woman. I mean, just actually knowing. The attention part start with self. I really believe that. After going through things in life,
Mhm.
um, I believe once you have self love, like you understand intention, and having a mindset of a prosperity mindset manifestation. That's the intention in not going off that course. So that's how it is for me. So I can only answer for me, but that's how it is for me. So
Awesome.
Can I
Each
ask a
person will
question?
have its own intention. Go ahead, Jackie.
Yeah, they definitely will. So, can I ask you a question about this prosperity mindset when in regards to intention? Can you elaborate a little bit more about what that means for you?
um, well, when you all right, so let's take it as a business concept, right? Or you see people that you feel like they have everything, and you ask the question like, "How did you get there?" Whatever. Like the mindset has to change first, right? Regardless of what it is or what you want or whatever, that mindset has to change overall. And actually seeing that prosperity, really believing it, really speaking it, is power in words. And that's what I mean by that. Like once that change, things change for you, and then you'll start seeing your surrounding, because if you're not living what you're talking,
Mhm.
it's not going to change. It's going to keep being a hamster wheel. So that's what I mean by that prosperity side. You got to really speak it.
Thank you
Yeah.
for elaborating. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, then I'll go into our next question. How do you determine if a woman you may be interested in is ready for what you're looking for?
um so I go into it letting them know from the door like where I am and where I've been. So as a boy, I was looking, whatever, just looking. As a young man, you search, kind of looking, but you kind of figuring out what you want. So it's kind of a searching thing. But when you become a man, you begin to be in your seeking stage. So once you start seeking, those questions start being very keen, point, accurate, and that's how like for her, you know, knowing the fact that okay, if you've been through pain, the question of are you over that pain? Have you forgiven that person? You know, like because if you haven't, all you're doing is having a transferable mindset, transferable love mindset. It's gonna
Mhm.
You're gonna bring that in, and it's gonna trigger something in the mind, something I'm gonna do, and it happens often with all of us. Like, what in the world? As men, we like, what did I say? What did I do? And all of a sudden, the woman either runs or she started giving pushback. So actually, kind of seeing like where she is, when it comes to that, um, the way she carry herself, saying what you mean what you say, those type of things. That's really important, because as men, we kind of sit back and we watch and we see, and if we not seeing it, it's like we move on. I'm just gonna be honest. In our own particular way, we move on. So
Okay,
Okay.
yeah.
that makes sense.
Absolutely. And we'll probably go back to that as we ask this next question because I think it's going to hit back on some of the points that you made. What are some of the red flags for you?
Um, a woman that don't have her stuff together overall. First off, self love. Um, of course, everybody knows nobody likes a liar, nobody like a cheater or anything. But that red flag for me, and I go really in depth with it. Um, I'm gonna go old school, right? Like when we was in our cruise back in the day. I'm a '90s guy. That was my time, the '90s, early late '80s, '90s. That was our time. So the red flag for me was that woman that if that guy said, "Hey, come here," and she come, that's that red flag right there. No man is seeking want that woman out that crew that y'all have. That woman we don't want. We don't like, and that's to be honest. Any man will tell you because that woman can be gotten by anybody right there. Because that woman can be gotten by the man that say, "Oh, you cute," and she starts smiling. I got you. I don't have you from eternity. I got you for however long I want you because now we know that that's embedded in us to know what category we want to put women. That's just what it is. So for me, it's more like that's a red flag. My grandmama, my great grandmama used to always say, if you go to a house and a baseball is dirty, she nasty. You don't want that. So it's these little key things and hygienes and how you carry yourself and what to wear at the events you're going through. Are you loud or are you quiet? Like these little things. Those are red flags to me. Not saying that that person can't be themselves, but it's a time and place. It's a growth level, right, of what you actually want. So for me, those things. If we can't talk about finances, I mean, that's a red flag for me because I like to talk politics and I like to talk finances. I like to know where you are spiritually. I like to know where you are when you see yourself politic wise. And I don't care what party. I just want to know what your mindset and what values you have,
Hmm.
and like I said, the financial aspect, where you see yourself 1, 3, and 5 years from now. If you don't have that together, it's kind of like for me, it may be a red flag. And it's not to say that you have to be there. It's the mindset of are you pursuing? And if you're not pursuing, what are you doing to get there? Because it may be something I have for you networking wise. And as a people, we don't do that enough. And if I can't do it with someone that's going to be in my home or someone I'm pursuing, what that say about the rest of the community? It's okay to talk about love and hip hop and other shows, but that's not an interest.
Okay.
Can I kind of touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so when you were talking about networking, I have a family member who, is when he was out dating in the world, he really wanted a woman who he felt like represented him and networked in social situations and could carry herself in all types of situations.
Hmm.
And she's not as outgoing as him, but that's one of the things that kind of, when he's thinking about women, he wants someone who's very sweet, but also outgoing. So when you're talking
Hmm.
about networking, just talking about networking in general within a circle of your friends or your family, or you're just talking about someone who's able to go out and all social settings and just network, like job, church, everything.
Yeah. So let me clarify for the woman, teachable. Because I can get you out of Wendy's, but if you teachable, I can teach you all of that. I just need you teachable. I need peace, and this is all we want. And I guarantee you, other brothers are gonna say the same thing. I need you teachable, and you bring me peace. I got everything else. So in those network settings, I can tell you the structures and everything else, but you got to be humble enough to know, okay, I can put this together and I can be that because we all learn it. We all had to learn at one point, but once you got it, it's going to be embedded in you. Because as a man, if I'm not making you better, as a vessel, I should be making you better. Where I'm weak, you should be making me better. So it may be some things that she teaches me too, but when we call particularly talking about the woman, that's what I mean about the networking point, seeing whatever. That's why you see so many women that may be in Wendy's, maybe somewhere else or whatever, they the ones getting married because we know they're teachable. It's not the fact that they got anything; it's the fact that they want to and they got the desire or whatever, And not knocking women that's very, very, very successful or anything like that, but it still has to. You're still a woman at the end of the day. I'm still a man at the end of the day.
Okay, because I was just going to ask you that is,
Mhm.
for when because you made reference several times to a person who works at Wendy's. And so, what if she does own her own real estate company, if she does own her own in-home daycare, if she's a woman who makes a certain amount of money for herself and has a certain amount of status and is also of a certain age, like how does that read for you? Does that, because does she seem less teachable if she's already established? Because you keep referring to Wendy's. So I'm trying to understand for us women that are a little bit older and a little bit seasoned in our life and in our career, how does that work with
All
being
right,
teachable?
so I brought up the Wendy's context to just give you a view of that woman that's teachable because she's not there. She hasn't. But for the woman that's there and different things like that, and she truly wants her king, well, she has to go through that extra mile of kind of self check. Like it's just got to be real. You got to be self check. Guess why you have to be self check? Because you wear that hat, and it's automatic for you to be in control. It's automatic for you because you're used to doing it. But when you have that man that's coming in, sometimes you got to self check and allow yourself to push back. That's where I'm coming from for that. You got to allow us to be that man, and you're gonna have to allow yourself to be a woman to be catered to as well. See, I'm gonna say a lot of y'all because you in that category, okay? And that's a compliment to both of y'all. Being in that category, you have certain responsibilities. By you having those certain responsibilities, right? You also have a responsibility to yourself to be in love. You have a responsibility to say you're praying to God. You saying, Lord, send me my king. And then Lord said, yo, I'm sending them. You keep on burning them out. Like I'm keep sending them, but you not getting it. You not understanding. Like, yo, you have to understand what it is to be a true woman. And that's not to knock what you are as a doctor. That's not to knock what you are as a business owner and everything else. But it is for you to look in the mirror and say, what do you deserve? And you can't have your cake and ice cream too. If I'm sitting here telling you this is what we're gonna do, and you like, no, we ain't. We're gonna. I just said what was going on over here. You don't know why we're going. I'm just saying we're going. Trust that man enough to do that, especially if you choose to spend time with that brother, because that's one thing that God don't come between, the rule of choice. So if you giving me that time, give me that time. Let me do what I need to do as a brother to show you. It ain't gonna be your way a lot of times, but sometimes it may be. And that's for an alpha and omega kind of brother. A passive brother, he gonna be like, okay, and he gonna just do whatever. But you gonna bore out on him. Like, let's be real. Yeah, both of y'all probably run over a passive brother. Y'all probably tear him up.
I would not say I would run over somebody that's passive, but it does get tiring after a while to make all the decisions because you could be by yourself if you were going to make. I mean, we're making all our own decisions now because we're the only person there to make the decision. So, to me, there's no point in having a partner if they can't make decisions. So, yeah, if somebody's passive all the time,
You
it's
know,
not
so,
gonna work.
see what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, and then just to bring this up, if we are aggressive, then all of a sudden we controlling our narcissists and all this stuff. No, we being a man, we doing what we need to do. We set the plan, we set the agenda. This is what we doing. Or we hear, oh, you moving too fast. Why? Because I'm taking it in on Thursday. Well, I'm not ready to go. We like next, like we got time and places to be too. Like that's another thing about brothers that's established. Like we have other things to do, but if we're taking time out to actually spend time with you,
Hmm.
and you're like, I don't want to because you're just being hard. Come on, man. Like, and I think that's what a disconnect is a lot of places with us, not really communicating enough, or like I said, like as a woman. Now I can only speak from my experiences. I can only speak from where I'm coming from what I see. I'm a single man. I'm seeking my wife.
Hmm.
So it's a little different for me. I'm not just dating, I'm seeking my wife, my forever. So for me, it's kind of like, mm, I have time to put in it, but what I don't have time for is to pull down layers you were supposed to already pull in. If you talking about you wanting a king to find you, you know?
Mhm. Okay, I do have a follow-up question to the
Yeah.
whole if a woman chooses to spend time with a man, then she should allow that man that time to show who he is as a man. But kind of what is we need to self-check, but what is the responsibility for a man who wants to be a husband, and he wants peace from a woman, and he also wants cooperation and wants that woman to be teachable? Kind of what is his responsibility to create that situation, because that is a situation that requires trust, and it's something that is just the same way that woman has to earn that security from that man and those leadership qualities from him, and play her part. What is the man's part in securing a woman so that she can be in a feminine space so that she can provide that peace? What is that role look like, or responsibility look like for the man?
All right, so trust is within, first and
Hmm.
foremost. That's bottom line. Trust is within. That seed has to be planted. And as a farmer knows either this ground is going to be hard to turn or it's going to be easy to turn. But you got to figure out which one you're going to be when I plant that seed. Because if it's a hard ground and I plant that seed, it's going to take a little longer. But I still have the choice to plant that seed. If I'm planting that seed, you have the choice to be that hard or you're going to go ahead and turn over so it can actually grow. As for me, it's for me to be humble. It's for her to be submissive in that aspect, and not in a dictatorship way, but submissive in a way to understand, to get that dialogue. You can't get the dialogue you seek if you're gonna be hard. If you got those layers up, when it comes to trust, you have to trust yourself first. Trust yourself enough that you know what space you're in as a woman. I'm here with this man, or I'm talking to this man, so you're already there. How
Hmm.
about trust yourself enough just to see what this brother gonna do, just to see how he approaches, just to see what's the next move. And a lot of times in our society, women don't give it a chance. That's why it's like, oh, I don't have time, or next, or whatever. And then all of a sudden, y'all wonder like, why you single? And it's just little bitty pieces that you're missing. Those little things is what really counts. Honestly,
Okay.
chivalry is not there, but if you don't give me an opportunity to have it, I mean,
Mhm. Okay. Great answer. And I think what I was kind of getting to the, a lot of people, or a lot of men that we speak to, that I speak to offline, etc. Peace is always mentioned. Be my peace, be my peace, be my peace. But I think it kind of is in alignment with what you said. Is that accountability, piece of I am who I am and I'm where I am. And yes, I can trust myself enough to know that, if I choose to spend time with this person, if I'm in this energy, I should be attracting people who are also in that space. But I think we throw it out a lot, like, be my peace, be my peace. Even for a woman saying, give me security. But I don't think that we often spend a lot of time saying, what is my responsibility? How do I create the atmosphere to get that from how do I bring that out of this person that might potentially be my partner? Because I mean, you could be where you are and know who you are, and different energies and different environments can bring out different things in you. Like, again, I might have hidden talents or hidden treasures in me that a certain person might bring out that another person absolutely will not. And I think that we just don't spend a lot of time thinking about what is our responsibility to get or to have those traits show up. What kind of environment are we creating, to bring forth those traits in the other person?
So for me, everybody in my family, friends, even enemies,
Mhm.
they know this. I'm a pusher. You're not gonna be in my circle if you ain't ready to get pushed to your greatness. I don't care who you are. I'm pushing you to your greatness. If you don't want to be pushed, don't be in my circle. It's just that simple. It's no arguments about it. A lot of people get mad. I get cussed up. So what? But until you ready, don't. I don't need that. I'm good.
Mhm.
I'm straight. And I'm being very honest. I'm being very honest when I say this. I know. See, and the reason why I say I push people to their greatness because I know my calling. I know my calling. I knew that before. I can't sit here and tell you something that I ain't been through myself. I can't sit here and tell you to do something that I ain't done myself. I know what I know. What I don't know, I'm gonna ask, and then guess what? I'm gonna know because guess why? I asked. I asked 1,000 questions because I'm gonna get those 1,000 answers. Once I get those 1,000 answers, I'm gonna have an answer for somebody down the line. You understand what I'm saying? So that's
Mhm.
how I am as a man, you know. So that's the first thing is of course, once again, it goes back to self-check. It goes back to I'm not gonna ask a woman to do something or be something that I've not gone through. I'm
Mm,
I'm I'm I've learned how to be patient in certain areas and still learning how to be patient. You know, my flaws I'm working on. But the first thing I do for anyone that is wanting to pursue or interested, I let them know. If you ain't ready to be pushed to your greatness, I'm telling you now, because I'm pushing you. You can't sit here and tell me, oh, I want this house. Oh, okay. We just passed by this house, but you want that house. My next question is, what you doing to get it? Well, I'm gonna do X, Y, Z. So how long you been doing it? Oh, it's been about 2 years now, and you're in the same spot. Something wrong with that. Let's sit down and let's go over. Let's figure out what's going on. If you don't have time to do that, that's a turnoff, honestly. But at the same time, I'm gonna push you to do it because a better you, a greater you, is gonna eventually be a better us. That's how I see it.
okay. Well, the next question, it kind of leads into what I had as a follow-up question. So I'll ask it and then I'll ask my follow-up question right behind. What advice would you give a woman as far as dating and relationships are concerned? You did mention a lot about showing up not with all of those layers intact and expecting that other person to, get through or break through all of those layers. So as you answer the question, could you kind of hit on that first?
Yes, a lot of times I don't date men, so I'm saying women use it as a crutch,
Yeah.
a straight up crutch. I've been hurt. I've been and I trust me. People get mad at me when I say this. Well, why are you here? I'm not in that space. Why are you here? How about you take time out and fix you so you won't mess up what God has blessed you with? Because you gonna mess it up. You pray for it. Be careful what you pray for. Now it's here. You can't be afraid of it, and then all of a sudden you can be cautious. But what fear is not of God. You see what I'm saying? And that fear comes from those layers that you got to get right first. So that's my first advice to a woman to get those layers right. Once you are right in that sector, don't be. I'm gonna say this and I mean this because this is what I call it. Don't be a meal hopper. Tuesday you with Craig because he taking you to get lobster. Wednesday, you with Mike because he the steak guy. Y'all be doing it, and then you get with Free and get mad. You didn't order all this crawfish over here, and I don't even know you. Yes, we going Dutch. I don't know you like that. No, because I know what you're doing. You just was out with Mike. And I'm gonna get that out you, by the way, because I'm a cipher, because I work in sales in a sense and do some other stuff. So it's more like I'm gonna get out you and I'm already know where you going with it. You just went out with Terry on Friday and y'all was out there eating all kind of pieces and everything. Like, don't be that girl. You know what I mean? Don't be that one. You know what I mean? And then I'm being so for real when I say this. And y'all have that woman in y'all crew that y'all know that's a meal hopper. She went out with Mike just because she was hungry. She don't like him, but she out. So wasting time, don't be that. If you truly ready for something,
Mhm.
be assertive and be confident about it. Me myself, I love an aggressive woman that knows what she wants, and that a lot of us do. We go by like seeing and touching and feeling and hearing. So if we know all we got to do is get a hint that you interested, we got it from there. But what you all do is you you make it so cloudy. Then you say, "Oh, we want to be friends." Okay, cool, we be friends. Now, friend to us means something totally different. It means friend. For y'all, now I'm out with your homegirl and you upset with me. You just said, "I want to be friends." You already know I'm not looking for your friend, but your friend was aggressive enough to say, "Hey, I'm interested." So you think as a man, I'm supposed to be like, "No, I'm friends with no, man. It don't work that way." This
Mhm.
could be for my potential wife because I know what I prayed for. So if you wanted it, you need to be doing that, Don't get mad at her. You said you want to be friends, so we're gonna be friends. I'm gonna give you a high five. What's up, friend? And that's where we get caught up at a lot of times as men. Like y'all get mad and say he's a dog, he's this because he was talking to me. No, ma'am, it didn't go that way. You said friend. So that's that communication for a guy you like. Make sure he knows, hey, I am interested. You know what I mean? And if you in a dating aspect, everybody have their own way of dating. You have some people go in 150% and focus on that person and move to the next. Then you have to have that person that goes in the outings, let's say, to kind of get to know the person to see if you even want to go on a second or third date, to know if they want to date. I think that a little more communication on that should be had. That's what I would say to a woman that's really ready, and a woman that really, a praying woman. We like to see our aunties and our mamas and our sisters in a sense in some of y'all. Like if we going on a trip, you pack a lunch you want to without me even saying nothing. You already got snacks packed. Oh, I'm hooked. And the reason being because it's these things that was taught generational, right? Mama already had it. She ain't have to. You ain't have to tell her whatever. I don't have to give you direction. It's like you showing that womanly kind of support, right?
Right.
And even if you independent, the woman that if you are independent, if you got your own or whatever, actually asking yourself, can I truly take a step back and support the brother that I like? And I don't mean financially. I'm talking about a woman that supports a black man. All y'all got to do is say, "I believe in you." That's like our spinach to Popeye. I'm telling you, you tell a man, I guarantee you tell a man, I believe in you, I'm proud of you, you can do it or whatever. Something inside us go to a next level. You know why? Because the woman we're interested in believe. That's why we do it. I encourage that out of women that are truly, truly ready. And that's when you're ready. You know what I mean? It's for a woman to be submissive, it's for a man to be humble. So that's how I see it. That's how you're ready. And then flip it on yourself. You asking all these things from a man, then go take a pen and ask if you was a man, would you date you? Like seriously. You asking all this stuff, but would you put yourself in and actually say yes to these things? And if you're saying no somewhere, then that means you got to rearrange that. But my opinion. So
Now, how does that come
Mhm.
into play when, like you mentioned earlier, we are all individual people and we should be making each other stronger, greater, better in certain areas. And that to me means that, you may be skilled or bring a certain set of values and things to the relationship that I'm either growing in or not as strong in, or that just may not be my forte. Um, so when I think about making a list, like if my list are things that are non-tangible, um, I'm hoping that there are not exactly the same list that I would evaluate myself on because I'm looking for a compliment. Um, I'm looking to be a compliment, but I'm also looking for someone who would compliment me. So I wouldn't necessarily say that the list would be a apple for apple kind of list, but I think I kind of get what you're saying as far as like if a man must, have these non-tangible things, but then I don't have it, or he must have his stuff together and I don't have my stuff together and not progressing towards it, then that's not a fair standard to hold that other person to. But kind of, how does that work when you're looking for things that are complementary to you, not exactly the same as what
well,
you
that's
bring?
what right. Well, that's what I meant by that. The foundation of things, right? Not
Hmm.
tangible or anything, but the foundation of things. When you talk about love, when you talk about spirituality, when you talk about building, those type of things. Are you capable? You may not have it, but are you capable? If that's in you, you want this from him. I'm gonna give you an example. I'm gonna give you an example. 2 weeks ago, this young lady reached out to me. All right. Now check this out. Now she went to school, and the army pays for her to go to school. She decided that she getting out the army. Okay. She loves older men. She was 29, something like that. I'm typically, I don't know about that younger, but you know, like, okay, I'm listening, just to see where she is. 29, love older men. I'm 42. Now, she wants kids. Okay. She wants four more. Four more.
How many does she have already?
One.
Okay.
She wants four more. Wants a family. All that's cool. Now I say to her, it all depends on the financial state of the household and where we are in a mental aspect. And can we handle what you're talking about? So I was like, so what's going to be your role? Oh, all I want to do is stay at home and take care of the house. That ain't gonna work. That is not gonna work. Any man that's 40 to 42 years old, if he's gonna be lying to you, if he tell you he gonna give you four kids, because mathematic wise, doctor, you know this. And you gotta add 20 years to every one of them child and probably put another 100 grand on each one.
Let me tell you, more than that.
Right.
I have.
And then when you ask the question financially, where you are, oh, I don't want to work. So you mean, I said, so where we getting this capital from? Where all this come from? Oh, you doing it. I can just have rental property and all this. What's wrong with you? Straight up. What is wrong with you? No man is going to give you that. No man. No, if he tell you he lying, it is not happening at all. Like, and the reason why that's not happening is because of the fact that you're not bringing what tools are, it's not the table. What are you bringing to the table? What tools do you have to build and make sure this what we're creating work the way it needs to work, and that's how we as men think. It's all business with us. No matter how you see it, everything around us is business. If you get married, there's two companies coming together to merge. You're gonna take the bad with the good. But before you marry, what you want to do is cipher out as much bad as possible to make it good as possible for a great merge. It's the same thing. And that's where we are as seeking men. We've learned from our mistakes. We've learned from different things like that. We have to make the best choices possible. So, of course, she got mad, cussed me out, and she was like, you narcissistic and whatever, hung up in my face. That's fine, but I'm going to tell you the truth. So, you get what I'm saying? So, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. I just wanted to ask a little question about here. So, okay, I know you said she's 29. She's trying to get out of the army. She's, you said that they were paying for school. I mean, did you have an opportunity to speak to her about, I know she said she wanted to stay home and have rental properties. Does she already have a portfolio of rental properties?
No.
Okay. Does she have capital in which to get these rental properties?
Oh, yeah, by the way, yeah. That financial side? Mm-hmm. No.
Okay.
It's starting. See what I'm saying? See that right there. It's starting and using my money to do that.
It don't work that way. That? She said specifically.
Yeah, she was like, you're providing. I want that man to provide.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Because I felt like I was missing something in the story.
Yeah. Right.
Like, trying to get to where why she cussed you out. Because I was like, maybe she already has some things established for herself. So that's what I was thinking. Because 29, by the time I was 29, I was already a doctor. So I mean, so I was wondering where she was at her point in life. And my ex he was in his 40s when I was in my 20s. So
you was established though, right? And you had a leg to stand on to move on for yourself as an independent woman.
Yes.
At this point, 4 kids. I don't want to do nothing. I want to be at home. No, they don't work together. How is that possible in any kind of case? And that's stuff like that. No.
Okay. I mean, it's all, tangible, like you said, the age that you are versus the age that she is. And, there's women who stay at home with the children because that's hard work, in my opinion.
That's different, though.
And it's also, too, not to say she couldn't have, acquire something in a small business. But just, hearing that was very interesting. So I wanted to know how you came to this conclusion to get cussed out. So I was just, thank you for elaborating.
Right, because of that.
Put a pin in it for now. I got more.
Right, but a stay at home, nothing's wrong with a stay home mom because that's work by itself. But if you staying at home, okay, so what's our plan? It still has to be a plan.
Right.
You know what I mean? Period. If you at home and then we have kids and you want to have another kid, okay, that's fine. We can have another kid, but we have to plan for that. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong once again for a stay-at-home mom because and well, it's some key points that we got to make. Or we cook you cooking right, you washing clothes right, you ironing right. You know what I mean? The house is gonna be clean when I get home, right? I got everything else, but I need these things done, and I can only speak for me. If you gonna stay at home, you know what I mean? Like that, it has to be where if I'm that old school saying, if I'm buying a house, you make it a home. It has to be what that is. And by the way, without complaining. You can't get mad at me because I'm coming home and then ain't nothing on the kitchen stove, and then you like, well, I'm tired. You at home, you know. This is you at home. This is what you agree to. I bust my butt at work, and we being real. Let's be real now. And
Mhm.
you at home, but you tired. This is what you agreed to now. You ain't got to do nothing else. You don't pay no bills. You don't have to chirp about spending no money. You can go as you please, but you tired.
Go as she pleases to where? To Target? To Gymboree with the kids? Where's she
Go
going?
as you
If she's got trying to have five
as
kids,
you
where's she
please.
going? You acting like she got all this free time to go where she pleases. Where's she going? Where's she going?
She can go as she please as long as certain things in the house are taken care of. That's the trade off.
Okay, and then are you coming home to help with the children? I mean, this is
Well, it depends on how many. First off, it depends
Yeah.
on how many, and if it's kids at home. But I'm just talking about a strictly stay-at-home wife or strictly
Mhm.
stay-at-home whatever. It gotta be some balance somewhere. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like it can't be no, you stay at home and you just do whatever, and then my house torn up and you ain't cooking and the clothes all over the place. No, no, no. Come on now. Like that's no.
Well,
Yeah, I
interesting.
think
I
it,
mean,
it doesn't always sound good, but I have been on the other side of that where I was at the time working and another party wasn't. Um, I'm sorry, it don't sound nice, but I used to get pissed off if I got a message that said what was for dinner, or I would get home and I've worked a full day, and now you looking for me to help do stuff because I'm like you've been here all day.
Right.
And that's whether
There
there was kids in the house or not.
you
Um,
go.
that is going to get tired. But I think you hit a key point is if that plan was made and both parties agreed to all aspects of that. So I think what doesn't happen oftentimes is both parties say, "Oh yeah, let's have 5 kids. Oh, it'd be great if you stayed home." And then that expectation of I want this done, that done, and that, and these are the things that I don't want to see is not communicated. And then you just y'all both here now with 5 kids and she's not getting any help, and she feel like she's tired and entitled to time off from her job, which is to be the person who keeps the home. But there's an expectation that no, if I'm at work, you're at work, and there's no time off. 'Cause
Right.
that's what
yeah,
So
and
right.
'cause that's what it
So
sounds
for
like.
yeah.
for me, what I desire, this is just me personally. What I desire that woman that's wanting to be in uncomfortable situations. And we talking about good uncomfortable, meaning she want to go to that next mile. Still my wife. She still come home and cook and clean. However, I am too. So when she's gone, and when I'm not, I don't wait on food. I can cook, clean, whatever. When you out, you come home. I'm gonna make sure I'm spontaneous. I like to do different things. I'm gonna make sure your favorite meal cooked. I'm gonna make sure your favorite song playing. I'm gonna have your bubble bath ready, and you spend 45 to an hour in there and just decompress yourself. And when you come out, we ready to have our time. That's me, okay, for her because and vice versa. It's a team effort, right? It's a team thing. That's what I desire. Now, when you say, "Hey, I really want to go back to school," for me, that's an investment. I'm looking at that, and let's plan to do that. How long do we have? And let's go ahead and put that to the side for us that capital, so that way bills won't get thrown out. I don't have to work extra because time is important for us. That's where I am now in my life, and that's going through trial, ache, and pain. But I'm ready for that right now. So I'm posting pom poms. I'm ready to see you cross that stage. I'm ready. Just like I tell anybody that's in college right now. Anything with ology, you want to make some money, you better get a master's or doctorate. Period. Get ready for it. Anything with ology. So going into scenarios like that, you want to be prepared. That's what I desire though. A woman that really wants to, even if it's not school, even if you want to open up a business, I'm gonna support you. I'm gonna do that. But it has to make sense on paper first. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? I'm an old school brother. I say what I mean when I say I'm a demanding brother. You can't sit here and tell me you want to do something because I'm gonna push you to do it. So that's what I desire though as a single man. You know.
Right. Yeah, I think that like you hit it on the head earlier. Communication, that's key. I mean, because we can be as demanding, have as many expectations as we want. We can desire certain things all we want, but if you're not going to communicate that with the person that you planning to spend your time with or your life with, then it's good luck.
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of
Mhm.
things are really it's a lot, especially in with everything.
Mhm.
Communication. A lot of people are poor communicators and they don't really
Mhm.
some people don't say what they mean and mean what they say.
Mm-hmm.
And it gets a little, murky in the middle. So,
You're right.
definitely. Mhm.
You're right.
Right.
Or
And
some
then
people
just
say
even being
things. Yeah. Okay. Go
or
ahead.
some people say what they mean and mean what they say, but that does not mean that the other person understood.
That is
Yeah.
true.
Sometimes
Or yeah.
clarity is key. Asking questions and then also being open to,
Mhm.
like you were open to us when we were asking follow up questions or asking you to elaborate. Sometimes that part is missing. It's like, yeah, I said what I meant and I meant what I said, but did I, make sure that the other person, um, did they hear what I thought they should have heard? Did I
Mhm.
communicate it in a way that they could understand, or is it a challenge with their understanding?
And I would say this as well, and I've learned this over the last 2 years. I'm I talk aggressive, right? And it depends on what that person is, how that person is, where I can get the same thing across without me not being, so you can hear me and not, so you can listen without hearing me. So I've learned over time to kind of tweak it a little softer. It depends on who she is now, because
Mhm.
it just all depends. But where you are listening in that way you're doing instead of come on, let's get it, because it all depends on our approach. I had to learn that. That was a flaw for me, and I'm still working on that time. And if I ever do that, anybody that I'm dating, I want them to point that out so I can get better. You get what I'm saying? Like I
Mhm.
want to say it where you are listening and not hearing me, or like I'm barking at you. I want to be able to express myself where this is where it is, because over the years, like I said, I've been able to open myself up to communicate a little more, and I like that part. But I don't want to communicate more where I'm too aggressive, where you shut down, right? Because if you shut down, nobody wins out that situation. But I need to know that you shutting down and not you shutting down and you're not talking to me, or you on eggshells. You on eggshells. Why are we on eggshells? Is it because of the way I'm talking to you, or is it because it's not right? So let's fix it. Both of us.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Let's both sit down and fix it, and work it out.
Right.
Yeah. And sometimes I feel like it's okay. Sometimes the difficult conversations sometimes arise deep in a relationship, and sometimes
Mhm.
somebody wants to dream a new dream. And, the other person is very rigid in what you said 27 years ago that this is what you were going to do. And now you want to be a whole new person. You only drank coffee and now you're drinking tea. I don't know who you are anymore. So,
Mhm.
anyway, go
I
on.
agree.
It's muddled.
Yeah. Do you have any other follow up questions, Jackie?
No, this has just been very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've got a little something to say, but I'm trying to keep it cute. So
No, say it.
Sound
No,
like you want to hear it.
no. Give it to no. Open
no,
up, please.
I'm just taking it all in. I'm just taking it all in. I'm still stuck on the Wendy's part. Just taking it all in.
Oh, you still stuck on Wendy's?
No,
Wendy's
I
is
just
just an example, but
no, I just feel like this is what I think because Misha and I've been doing this for a while, and we talk to lots of different people. She talks to people, I talk to people, and it feels like sometimes when men are single in our age demographic, late 30s, even to early 50s, men who are single and dating, it's sometimes that they feel like women who are of a certain age or who are established are difficult. And that's a label that I often hear when you are a woman of a certain age and of a certain status, that you're difficult. And so that's why I'm talking about the Wendy's thing.
You want the truth?
I've go ahead. I'm
Mhm.
listening.
Y'all are. That's the bottom line truth. It's pure fact.
Hmm.
You are. If you was to put a camera in any situation, you all are. You truly are. And I'm not saying all of you, but it's a needle in a haystack for us to find. When we say peace, that's what we're looking for. That woman that is seasoned, that woman that is this, but she also is an angel, like an angel, and not mean like we get away with anything, but well, we don't have a drama because something that happened 20 years ago, you saw something and it just you went off and you mad at me, like a lot of y'all are. Like honestly, when you hear that, we really mean that, and that's
Mhm.
why a lot of young, I promise you, a lot of older men, we don't want to go. I promise you, we don't want to go to the younger women. And a lot of times we don't go to the younger women because we hear them talk and it reminds us of our nieces and cousins. And I'm like, hell no, like I can't do that. But that kind of thing. But it's like where's the balance? Like, can we honestly, I guarantee you, if you get a group of women that are single that says, hey, I can be balanced, you will have men all I'm talking about running. Because that's all we want is the balanced female. Just balance. It's not wrong with the flaws, but it's like you do too much with these layers because somebody hurt you 2-3 years ago and you bring it up, or because I said something and it triggers you and you start acting a certain way because it may be something you're just not over, or let it go. That's what we mean. And
Mhm.
I promise you that's what we mean.
Yeah, and I wasn't talking about just younger women. I was talking
Mhm.
about the whole gamut. I've heard younger women,
Okay.
just from a lot of men, younger women, women who are in careers that are less demanding, things like that, where they could be a little bit more, or haven't traveled much, haven't experienced much. You know, um, I've heard men say, they would like to have women that haven't really done a lot. So, or if they did, they don't want to hear about it. Or if like if you've been to Costa Rica, you're kind of just supposed to say, oh, that'd be so great. Like Costa Rica's great, even though you've been there 7 times. Like, it's just like, they don't want, it's like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes there's competition, like this air of competition and like, of just women being angry, like you said. So that's
No,
just,
that's a different category, brother.
mhm,
No, that ain't us. That's a different category, brother. Like that competition, brother. Like that's the same category if the brother got an issue because the woman make more money.
mhm,
Mhm.
A brother like myself, we don't care. Honestly, we don't care. Like you making more money because you're doing what you love to do, and that's your passion. I'm saying go, go, go. I don't care about that. What I do care about is what are you doing with that money? Because what we're not gonna do is blow $15,000, $20,000 doing a Paris buying a $5,000 purse. No, not right now. Let's get to a certain point and organize that, or me going about XYZ and just being better people and managing our funds right. That's something I would care about. But for you making it, no, like we don't care about that. We don't care about the fact that if you've been all around the world, or I can just only speak for myself. I love a woman that's been all around the world because that gives you more to talk about. If I haven't been there, I'm digging into the dialogue. I'm traveled as well, But at the end of the day, I do want to know your experiences and how did you like XYZ and would you go back? Because that gives me plans to be spontaneous. We gonna go, But
Mhm.
that's once again, that's me and brothers like myself like that.
Mhm.
So you got to start. You as women, y'all got to start putting us in certain categories too. You
oh,
know what I
don't
mean?
worry, we do, we do,
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
we do. We may not talk about it, but we do. Oh, definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and no matter how good looking that brother is, no matter how successful he may have that part that just doesn't work for you, and it may be the brother that's grinding, doing other things that may be, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like that perfect match. But being open is key though. Like so,
Mhm.
I don't think women express that enough though. Like y'all are real quiet about it. Y'all are getting mad about it because what we said, but you never really you're never open about it like that though. To really the categorizing of a brother, you know what I mean? Like what works for you? Like what do you want? What do you desire? You know.
Mhm.
But that's just once again my opinion. So.
Okay.
Yeah, good stuff.
Wow. Yeah, yeah. This is very, very insightful.
Very. Did you have
Very.
any questions for us?
I do. All right. So the show itself, like all, so you all do panel discussions. Like, how does this platform? How did it come about? First and foremost, and
Uh-huh.
when you talk to different people, do you ever have this panel discussion where it is dialogue, where everybody comes together for the insight of the group, or is it more so just like this? Like, how does that work?
So,
Yeah. I
so
love to
that's
hear.
a layered question. So I'll start with the how it started. Jackie and I have been friends for several years now. We love talking about relationships. We share our wins, we share our losses, we share our cluster scrambles. And we're like-minded in a lot of ways and have some similar struggles also. So we would find that we'd keep having these conversations, but we do differ here or there, but we weren't getting enough variety in the conversation because she and I spitballing stuff off the wall to one another. So we decided to bring other people and involve other people in these conversations, and so we started in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
In 2018, we had our first panel conversation. It was a video situation just similar to this on Zoom, and we invited a handful of people to talk about a different relationship topic. And then we decided that let's create a Facebook group to kind of support these conversations, and then be able to have informal conversations on a regular, and have a group that we could see it being different from some of the other Facebook groups we were in, where people were arguing, very negative oriented. The conversations just weren't very constructive. So it was a way to, one, organize these calls, but two, have these conversations on a regular and ongoing basis. Um, so we have the Facebook group, and to the panel thing, yes, we do. We want to do more of. We've done some in-person panels. We've done these video panels, and then I'll let Jackie speak more on kind of what we and our mission and vision for Virgin Black Love.
Yeah. So first of all, I'm kind of upset you didn't check our credentials and find out who we were before you came.
Well, I did a
I'm just
little bit,
I'm messing
but
with
I
you.
wanted to,
I'm messing with you. Kinda. But anyway, so yeah, so like Nisha said, it was just like it was a struggle bus for me. I was like, oh girl, like, and so we would have these conversations, like Misha said, and it was just all of these different things. And we really wanted a difference of opinion other than our own. Because sometimes when people have their own, they come with their own beautiful history, their own beautiful
Mhm,
experiences, some ugly experiences. And when you share those, you can sometimes grow and you can just
mhm,
really see some. I've learned issues that I didn't even know that I had, some things that I know that I needed to work on. And so, I love a good in person panel discussion. We've
mhm,
had them in here in Seattle. That was a wonderful one. Just talking about Black
mhm,
love here in Seattle, where there's not, where it's very diverse in love opportunities. And so we've had game night in Dallas. We have had, virtual game nights, and we just really
mhm,
love to talk and connect with people. And we definitely just want bridging Black love to continue to bridge that gap in communication between Black men and Black women, and really empower,
mhm,
relationships with Black men and Black women. And so, we want to continue to do panel discussions. We want to continue to grow the group. We want to continue
mhm,
to have the uncomfortable conversations sometimes, and really
mhm.
just see where we are. And it's just all about growing ourselves and, just learning and experiencing and really creating those real good, like, strong relationships.
So when it comes to the panel discussions, when it comes to like talking to the single men and women, right?
Mhm.
Like, like as you know, like I guess at our ages, it is difficult. It's doable, but it's difficult, right? So, do you all have in the aspect of, do y'all connect people together as well, or is it more like just straight up discussions? Like, how is that? Or, you know what I mean? Like, how is that? How does it
Can
work?
I start off with that, Misha? Can I say something real quick?
Go
First,
ahead, because you know I'm ready to hop on
I
it.
know you are. First and foremost, we are not like we're not a dating service. Some people think that, and really, honestly, I know that I said we say bridging Black love, but really, what it is, we have people in our group that are married. We want to,
Mhm,
we have conversations with married people. Our panel discussions, we try to have people who are married, people who are engaged, people who have been together for quite some time. It's not just single people. So that's
Right,
really, we want people to know that. So we're not, and if it happens organically, who are
right.
we? Who are we? We love a good, a good connection. Just
mhm.
don't blame us if things go wrong. But it's not that type of group. Really, it's just about having conversation. Our first conversation was, what was it about? Like, how did people meet and just know who they wanted to be with? Which,
Mhm,
yeah, was just knowing what you wanted and how do you know that person was the one, or how are
Mm,
you knowing what you're looking for? So it was people, a
yeah.
couple who's married, a couple that we really 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 like and enjoy in
yeah,
California. There was a couple who was engaged. There were single people such as
mhm,
myself, and yeah, and at one point, somebody was engaged. Somebody else on this
mhm,
discussion was engaged. So it's just so it's not just single people. I don't want people to think
No,
like
no, no.
it's
I'm not saying that, but it's a beautiful thing when you have like the married couple, right? That's been
mhm,
married for a
mhm,
long time. Then you have the divorce couple,
mhm,
right? I don't know if
mhm.
y'all have done that. And then
Oh,
you have the single, because it's like giving you the playbook of what to do, what not to do, and what to look forward to. So that's the reason why I was asking.
okay.
Even though not saying like it's a dating type of service or anything like that, but
mhm.
the goal and the solution is black love, right?
Mhm.
The goal and
Right.
solution is positive black love, right?
Right. Yes.
So if
Mhm,
that is the case, you know, the dating sites are what they're for. Just to connect is hit and miss. But a true connection is having these type of discussions and being in these particular circles, so you can actually, because this is the deep core. Because I guess you would say when you do have these panel discussions, you get the truth and the core of how people feel about it. I would
mhm,
rather be. I'm gonna be honest with you. I would rather find my wife in circles like this versus dating site, because you get the truth here. Because everybody wants to be
mhm,
heard, and what you speak
mhm,
of is your truth. You know what I mean? And so that's why I was asking, like, yo, like, do y'all ever have like those women that are frustrated? They say they are ready and they're going through it. A brother like myself, I'm listening with all ears, because now I'm contemplating.
mhm.
Okay, she may be. Let me, say hello, something. But it's just that kind of concept. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, and that does and has happened organically, and although we don't try to force that or create that atmosphere, like you said, naturally people start to see where they got things in common, or they like the way somebody thinks about things or how they speak on certain topics, and they may take it offline and they go do whatever it is that they do, and that is perfectly fine with us. We try to stay
Mhm.
away from the idea though that we are either encouraging people to couple up or encouraging people to date others within the group. We know it's going to happen, but it's not something that we want to take any ownership over. And then I think it starts to take away from some of the things that you mentioned, like the honesty factor. If somebody comes in thinking, oh, this is a place to meet people, then they may not be honest about
Mm.
how they really feel on topics. They may not, be
Yeah,
transparent as they
yeah,
would
they
be if they
send
would
a
just come into a
representative.
group of.
Okay.
Exactly, exactly. Because
Mm.
Yeah.
now they're going to start showing up as though this is a dating situation or a dating site, and now I'm
I
going to
agree.
put on my resume language instead of who I actually am
Yeah.
as a person. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I
Okay.
love those deep conversations
Yeah.
about, because people we're older. People have had long term
Hmm.
relationships. People have been divorced, and the
Hmm.
D word is not a dirty word. Divorce. unfortunately happens, and
Mhm.
people can talk about that and talk through it. And and we really
Mhm.
celebrate the love that we do have with people. Like, we celebrate every when people get when they have an
Engaged.
anniversary, when people get engaged. Like, we all cheer for that. When people get married, we
Mhm.
all cheer as a group for that.
You know what? And this is just in y'all little suggestion box. I've been saying this a lot, discussing the prenup factor. I've been saying it a lot lately. Just and it's amazing how people see it. So I don't know if y'all ever talked about that, but that'd be something interesting to get thoughts on.
Okay, well, maybe jump on in the group, and why don't you start that conversation?
Yeah,
Believe me,
I think
people
we
got a
have
lot to
actually, but it'd be nice to revisit. It'd be nice to
say.
revisit. I think we have, and that
Yeah.
was not necessarily one of the most constructive conversations had.
Yeah.
But yeah, we
So
should probably
people
revisit
didn't believe like they don't believe in prenups.
I believe in prenups.
Hey,
that.
the
I
old
For
do.
the
man,
group.
the old man
Yeah,
told
me
me the
too.
only people.
But
The, o-
so
no, go ahead.
Yeah.
yeah. No, I was gonna
Nisha, go
say
ahead.
that believe it or not, we had both men and women who did not believe in prenup, where I think most people tend to think the women are going to fall more on that side. And I think what kind of came out that made it not as a productive conversation was people's reasons for why they'd have a prenup. I think that's kind of where it starts to get the tension starts to come into the room is when you approach a prenup like a protection only. I'm protecting me and I'm protecting mine. I think that kind of like the conversation gets stifled because
Yeah,
that's not just what a prenup is. A prenup
right,
is an arrangement agreement and a plan for how things
right,
are going to be dealt with. It's not a I'm protecting all my stuff from you. And I think that
Mhm.
that
right,
that kind of when that comes out in a response, that brings up the defenses of, oh, well,
right.
Yeah,
it makes
It,
it sound like a very ugly thing versus a plan, a
exactly.
document that outlines something.
Because even you and the woman with the 5 kids, that may be something in
Hmm.
the prenup. Those are things
Right.
that,
that ain't happening.
some things that we need to talk about. And a
Yeah,
lot of times,
Right.
sometimes we miss these important conversations, especially when love kind of, gets in there. And then we're married and it's like,
Mhm.
oh, okay.
yeah. I mean, but and as you said, a prenup protects all parties. A prenup is just like a will or anything that
Mhm.
needs to be for us. The insurance not saying that you are it's going to happen, but everybody know how divorce goes.
Hmm.
It's
Mhm.
very few happy divorces.
Mhm.
People get petty. Divorce is like a death. I mean, honestly, like
Oh,
because it truly is. So it's more so what the beautiful part about the prenup is that part you don't have to be messy and petty about. You follow what I'm
Right.
saying?
you don't have to
Because it's at
be.
the it's in the happy times. It should be.
Right, and that
It
prenup
should
you
be.
can't do nothing about it because now you know you want to be petty, you can't because the prenup is in place where that's what's going to happen, and to protect once again both parties. I know because I know, like I said, I know I believe in it, but I believe in it very simple. What you bring in, yes, yours. What I bring in is mine. Anything we build together, you split down the middle, and we done with it.
I
That's
agree.
it.
Mhm.
Just
Right.
that simple. That, but that's me though.
Mhm.
That's how it is.
But again,
Right.
like, you're
Got
talking
it.
to individual people that have their individual experiences. And you know what? With us as a Black
Mhm.
community, things like that are hard when you're putting in contracts. You know how it is trying to get grandma to talk about creating a will, trying to get auntie to get
Mhm.
getting her healthcare
Living
proxy
trust
together.
together.
You know how it is. You
Mhm.
know how it is. It's really hard to have these conversations because a lot of us did not grow up with generational wealth. A lot of us didn't know, and some people believe that if you speak about these things, you are speaking death, and power is in the tongue. So if you're talking about, these things, a lot of some Black people are very religious, and that's you're speaking negatively. So, that'd be a great conversation to revisit again.
Mhm.
And
It will.
see how people think because everybody has their own unique set of thoughts
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
and
It's cool.
experiences.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
well, thank you so much for being here, Freeman. This was very, very. This was good.
Yeah,
Hmm. All right.
yeah,
Yeah. So if we do talk about that, I mean, we'd love to have you be a part of that conversation right on time because it's about that time anyway. But we would definitely love to have you be a part of that conversation when we do revisit it.
yeah. I would love to.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, but I definitely appreciate it. Y'all have any other questions, concerns, issues? Because Doc, I see you writing over there. So
I'm
what's your
always,
thoughts?
I
Like,
just,
what's your thoughts?
I just write things down
I want to
and
know what's on the
make a
paper. Like,
note.
what you writing now?
There's all kinds of things. There's on this paper is just things like as you were talking, I was like, ooh, let me get this business stuff together. So I have some business stuff
Hmm.
on here. I was talking about just some affirmations, and there's the prosperity mindset on here, and just really making it plain about what also what I want in a relationship. So I'm
Hmm.
always writing, I'm always thinking. So
That's
you
what's
know,
up.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we
So,
appreciate you. We love to have our men talk, and we hope that
yeah.
you felt like it was a welcoming and not a confrontational environment. Because I do see that that's often a struggle. So we love when we are able to talk to our men and have them be honest, transparent, unconcerned necessarily about giving the right answers versus just telling us how they feel.
yeah.
So we
Yeah.
appreciate that you brought that kind of honesty to the conversation. Thank you.
No, y'all. This platform is much
Yeah.
needed. Anything I can do to support, share, whatever it is, you know, it's honestly, this is more like a counseling session of a release of some stuff too. Like I can kind of feel it. You know, when you able to talk about some things and have somebody to talk to, that's a plus. So I commend you all for kind of
Hmm.
giving that outlet. You know, because a lot of men don't have that. You know what I mean? Like you
Absolutely.
listening, and that is a plus. And I really appreciate that. I do.
Thank you
Thank
for that.
you.
Thank you for that. Because even in the group, sometimes, we want to have conversation where men kind of take the lead. And sometimes, nobody, I don't think anybody intends it, but sometimes women can be, their voice can be a little bit louder. So we just sometimes
Yeah,
want
we
men
value
to
that.
express themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
do. So thank you for your
that's what's up.
time.
No, thank y'all. So this is already airing, going airing.